Alright, so welcome to the Imperfect Talkshow here on Monco Radio, where music and minds meet. I'm your host, Deja, and I'm here with Young Pharaoh.
Peace, family. What's going on? What y'all doing?
I'm going to go ahead and introduce yourself so everyone knows who you are and, my followers and everything.
That's right. Well, I want to thank the guys for having me here first and foremost. Got to definitely put the respect on the table and the appreciation. I go by Young Pharaoh. If you don't know me, I'm a lecturer. I'm a teacher when it comes to, physics, metaphysics, genetics, biology, quantum physics, just a various amount of subject matter stored within my mind that I, express to the community. So that being said, I have 88,000 subscribers on YouTube right now. I have 26,000 followers on Instagram, 40,000 followers on Facebook, and I'm actually growing on social media in regards to the information that I dispense. So that being said, to give you a kind of roundabout totality in regards to the understanding of who I am just as fast as I can. I'm a teacher, I'm a lecturer, I'm a spirit guide, etc. And I use social media as a platform to dispense information that is not readily available to the public. Period.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, before we start, I want to play a little game with you. It's how my followers get to know you. It's the Imperfect Talkshow type little thing, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. So, it's like a would you rather type thing.
Correct.
Okay? Alright, so romance or comedy movies?
Comedy movies.
Really?
Yes.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram.
Okay. Social media or TV?
Social media.
Okay. Why?
TV's trash.
TV's trash. You don't think so? Well, no, not really.
Social media is more interesting. People are funnier than scripted TV.
Okay. Rap or R&B?
Can I say both?
No, either or. If you had to pick one.
If this was back in the day, I would say R&B, but since it's 2017 and nobody really making no good R&B, I gotta say rap.
Okay. Alright, I'll go with that. Beyonce or Rihanna?
Rihanna.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I don't like Beyonce.
Why?
I just don't.
Really?
I don't like her music.
Not like never have you liked the Beyonce song? You can't
yes,
say
but I don't
that.
like Beyonce.
What song was it?
I'm a soldier with Lil Wayne. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a very long time ago.
And that still wasn't even just Beyonce. That was the whole.
I don't listen to her. I don't.
Dang. Okay. All right. So we got Rihanna for the win. Jadakiss or Jay-Z?
Jadakiss is my favorite.
I know you
rapper.
love Jadakiss.
That's right.
Really?
Favorite rapper.
So who was it? Jadakiss and who else? You have one more favorite rapper.
Ludacris was my favorite rapper. Then when he cut his hair off when I was young, I couldn't say. I had to go.
Why?
I don't know. He broke my heart, man. I had to go to Double RD Block. So.
I cannot. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So would you rather be able to teleport anywhere or be able to read minds?
Teleport.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So would you rather never be able to eat meat or never able to eat vegetables?
Never able to eat meat. Of course.
Okay. All right. So would you rather lose the ability to read or lose the ability to speak?
Ooh, let me think about that. I like that. I would rather you lose the ability to speak.
Really?
Yeah.
Than to read.
Because I can still get information now. I can write. I can create. And, I can have somebody else speak for me. I can, But if I can't read, I can't learn.
That's true. That's smart.
So I'm not going to give up my ability to learn to give up the ability for somebody else to learn.
True. Okay, so last one. Would you rather let it go or get even?
Get even.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because what I'm letting go may be more detrimental to me than what people think. When we say let it go, people don't put a scale on what it is. Is it a smart remark? Is it a country? Is it a land? Is it a fame? So what is it? So, I'd rather get even because, people do things at a higher velocity if they subconsciously realize there's no consequence.
Okay.
That's why people always trying to get over on somebody because they feel like it's no consequence. But if somebody knows there's a consequence for their actions, that kind of keeps them at bay.
Okay, cool. All right, perfect. Well, first of all, thank you for your time and your willingness to share your knowledge with me and my following, my audience. You touch on so many, different topics, and I would love to sit here and pick your brain about every little thing, because you talk about literally everything. But I wanted to talk to you about proper perspective and healthy relationships with oneself and others. How you feel about that? Great, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought it was important to me personally because I'm realizing that relationships in general depends on you and the relationship you have with yourself. Do you agree with that?
I totally agree with that.
Okay. So, my first question, we actually decided to break it down within self, then your relationship with the environment, intimate relationships, and between the youth and elders. So what would you like to start with?
Let's start with the youth since they come first.
The youth. Okay, so I had some questions from my friend. My friend wanted to know, so we're going to start us off with that so we can get people out the way. My friend wanted to know, how do you maintain a good relationship with your parents once you do things that they don't really like?
It depends on what you did and what your ideology of your parents are.
Okay.
Because, just because you're an adult doesn't mean you're correct. I don't know where that imaginary rule came from, but, that has to go out the window because, for example, Jesus Christ doesn't exist, whether you believe he does or not. So if you're a Christian family, and your child doesn't want to go to church, technically they're not wrong. You know what I'm saying? So if you, engage in a psychological and, emotional conflict with your child because they have a right to their own free will to not engage in this spectrum of what we call religion, would the child be wrong or would the parent be wrong? You know what I'm saying? So
right.
We have to, are we using being a parent to bully people down certain paths of life, or are we really letting people make decisions for themselves? So I think that, before I could probably answer that question, I would have to assess what it is that the person did and who the parent is, so.
Okay. I think that kind of goes in with the next question that I have, which would be oftentimes, adults see themselves in the child and it causes them to act a certain way towards the child. So how could a child maintain a healthy relationship? But that's kind of like the same thing. Even though, the child, like the parents will see themselves in you. Correct. And then they act like they either treat you a certain way, which is usually what happens.
I think that parents try to force children to make up for their own laziness a lot of the times.
Right.
And I think they push children to be perfect because they don't push themselves. So once again, it comes back on the type of parent we have. We live in a world where parents are not parents. We just got to, be 100. So a lot of the times, parents allegedly being tough on their child is really them taking out frustrations or taking out guidance on somebody else that they're not taking out on their own selves. Right. So, it's a self-evaluation thing. So when people say they see themselves in you, that don't mean they see something good. They can see the bad things about themselves in you too. So they want to take it out on you. So like I said, it's
But is it possible to even maintain a healthy type of relationship with someone like that? Because you have to love regardless of what's going on and who it is.
You may not be. You may not be. You might have to deal with your family. Parent, because some people live with aunts and they consider them parents or foster.
Right.
So when we say your spouse or your legal guardian, you may have to deal with them in a stiff-arm relationship. Like mom and dad may not be the healthiest people in your life in regards to your spiritual growth, and it's just the truth. We're not gonna act. We talking about becoming or reaching your full human potential. All potential obstacles must be eliminated. If your friends are not conducive, if all my friends are selling drugs and I'm trying to educate myself, y'all might not be able to be my friends one day.
No,
so if my parents are stuck in a certain module of thinking, I can't make you not my parents, but I may have to deal with you in a manner to where I'm internally protected to go on my journey. So we live in difficult times today, mm-hmm. and every second that goes by it gets much more complicated.
Definitely.
So we have to deal with our parents carefully because a lot of parents are not qualified to be guides.
Right.
Period.
That's true. So how does it? Because you just had a son. So how do you plan on not raising your kid, but how did it open up your walls of love in a different light and having a child of your own now, being a parent?
Oh yeah, it definitely amplifies something I can't really even conceptualize. But it's basically, I feel like a huge responsibility in the development of my child's internal being. Not even like money or him having shoes, or like I feel like the way he perceives himself is in my hands right now, because okay. I'm basically like it's like if you got a computer. If I work for Apple doesn't run on the same programming software as Dell. Mm-hmm. So it's like for my child to be black and for him to be a man and for him to be in such a time such as a time and day such as this, his programming has to be proper, let alone untainted at the same time.
Right.
So it's like I feel like my biggest task is to give him a point of view on life where he has his own point of view. Like I wouldn't even care if he didn't, think how I thought.
Right.
But my thing is I want him to be able to. I feel like one of the most important things that I'll have to install is for him to be able to make the right decisions when they count. So not, if you tell somebody try to be perfect, you're going to teach them to go crazy because, you know, everything's not perfect, you know. But you just teach them to do, if you teach them to do the right thing and clutch moments in life, you know, that's the best thing that we can instill in our son. In our children. So that's what I'm going to instill in my son. Outside of homeschooling, martial arts, and things like that I'm going to be definitely mandating. But other than that, I just want to teach them to make righteous decisions that work in the favor of the universe.
Okay. So how? Okay, that kind of goes into my next question in a certain way. But how do you plan on actually doing? Are you going to also teach him about the love within himself? Correct. Because doesn't that emphasizes everything else if you have that certain love within yourself, right?
Most definitely. I'm gonna. That's you know, mandatory. That's primary as far as what I'm gonna teach him. But he really already has that. Children already have that. We take that away from children. Like if you really watch children play by themselves. They don't really need friends. You know, we the ones who come in there and say, go outside. And we try to, we imprint it into their mind that they need to be socially active, you know. But if you really pay attention to a child, children play with toys by themselves. They play in a tub. They have a lot of self-involvement already. We come in and deprogram that out of them. So my thing is just, I'm going to just amplify that, you know. And my main thing as far as raising my son in regards to self-love, you know, a tactic that I feel that works and that people should incorporate is you make your child the authority figure. You know, even when we talk about ancestral history, you know, the kings and the queens that inherited the throne was always the youth. You know, elders didn't, if I'm a king and I'm 30, you're not going to be 80 and you're up to be the prince. You know, the prince is 8 years old, 7 years old, or the princess is 7. So I think that, you know, children should be given the positions of authority. They should be given, I don't think that parents should disrespect children. I think that parents should allow children to correct them when they're wrong. I'm a firm believer in, you know, when people say, well, I'm grown, I'm against that, you know. But I think that, like, for example, I like, if my son gets into a situation, let's say he's gonna be homeschooled, but I'm gonna hypothetically make the situation up. Let's say he went to a public school and he got suspended. I'm gonna give you a shot to explain yourself. I'm not just gonna run down on you because the teacher said that you did. I'm gonna give you a shot. You know, I'll give you a shot to be your own authority figure, because what it'll do is it'll teach people to respect you because I respect you. You know, I'm not gonna whoop my son. If you teach your son, like if you say, you know, it's one thing to guide somebody physically because you can't guide them spiritually. So it's kind of like an abusive relationship. Like it's like if a woman doesn't respect a man, he resorts to, I'm gonna put my hands on you to make you respect me, because he can't get the psychological and emotional submission that he wants. Right. Because he's not, you know, naturally. So it's like with a child, if a parent can't spiritually and emotionally get you to, you know, respect them, then they want, I'm gonna whoop your butt if you do this, I'm gonna whoop your butt if you do that. But if you teach your son or your daughter, you know, you're a god and you don't do that because that's peasant activity, right, then they won't do that, you know. So another thing that got to get thrown out the window is that false teaching of telling children, you know, don't think you're better than nobody. You should absolutely think you're better than somebody. If I study for my test and I get 100 and you fail, I'm better than you. It just is what it is, you know. They made first place for a reason. So you should, you know, and we should back our children. And it's not about being uppity. It's about, you know, being in your higher self. So I don't think that I'm gonna, you know, instill those basic blueprints in my son, and I'm gonna back them. And your job is to make sure that you never fall from grace. I won't do nothing to take you off your throne. Perfect. Okay, so how do you suggest, because you talked about how children also, they, I lost my train of thought just now. So how do you suggest that someone reach their higher self? And, like, you know, to gain more confidence? Because we are, as you grow up, you are watered down in the world. And it's different. Some people are not instilling in their children what you plan on instilling. So how do you suggest, like, someone our age or my age to gain that higher self? Be honest with yourself. Your higher self is your higher self. Okay. See, a lot of people, like, even when we say the word, I reach my higher self, people already have this magical frequency of higher self. You know what I'm saying? Your higher self might not be my higher self. You know, your heaven might not be my heaven. Your hell might not be my hell. If you like spiders and I'm scared of spiders, we have two different hells. You know what I'm saying? That's true. If you like this and I like that. So you have to really know it's called knowledge of self. We're all individual expressions of different aspects of each other. So okay, so then what do you how does someone get to that knowledge of self? Some people don't know who they are. How do you even get on that journey? I mean, for one, you can come subscribe to my YouTube channel, Young Pharaoh. Number one, okay. But outside of that, if you can't do that, what you need to do is deconceptualize everything that you think you know. Okay. And what I mean by that is, like, you can sit in your room and, like, okay, we in this studio for a second. So I see this bottle, and I'm looking at a bottle, and I know in my mind what a bottle is and what the functions of a bottle is. I see a microphone, I see a table, I see, you know, studio equipment. excuse me, and I know in my mind what I've already been, what I've already have in my mind as the defining terms. So what you do is you delete what you think this is. Like, so for example, I'm looking at this bottle, and I'm going to delete the word bottle out of my mind. I've never learned what bottle was. I don't know the English alphabet. I don't know anything. All I know is that this is an object which contains another object, or which contains a substance inside of it that is a liquid and is good for me when I drink it. Now my use and ability for this becomes different, and my potential for interacting with this becomes different because I don't already have a limited conception of what I can do with this bottle.
Right.
So if I say this is a bottle of water, my mind says I have to drink it and throw it out. But if I say this is a chemical composition that becomes what we call plastic, and it's just holding a liquid in it and it's taking this form, now my potential of how I can interact with this bottle expands because I don't just look at it as something to drink out of. It's I might can use it, look at it as 1,000 other things I can do with a plastic object. Okay. So when we look at life, we have to do that. And even we have to do it with people we don't like. You know, you have to look at Ku Klux Klan members and say, is this a racist white person? No, it's not. This is a Caucasian. This is a organism of genetic descent that's a Caucasian. They have a certain ideology, and that's the ideology. You have to look at this with Black Lives Matter or Black Power or Black Panther people. Is this a Black Power person? No, it's not. That's just the ideology. Right. This is a black person who has a certain. It's like a computer. You have to look at people like computers. This is a Mac. This is a Dell. Right. So you know, this is a person with a certain ideology, and I'm gonna, you know, basically evaporate or dematerialize all the extra components of my ego, and I'm gonna deal with things that are. And then once we start to actually, you know, do what I call breaking down the veil, you'll reach your higher self because you'll see that everything is just an extension of you with a different understanding of how they're looking at themselves. So it's like, you know, does rainwater look different than lake water? It's the same water. It just evaporate, precipitate, condensate. So how stupid would rain be able to say, I don't like the lake? Well, you are the lake. You're just following that.
Right,
so how stupid
true.
would it be for a human to say, I don't like you? You are me. You just went through a different experience on planet Earth, where I also live, and it caused you to have a certain psychology. So, you know, like when people ask me what God is, to me, you know, God is the acronym. God stands for generator, organizer, and dispenser of our own reality. You generate, organize, and dispense all emotions and thoughts, which lead to physical actions, which create whatever reality you're in. And then God, by my definition, is the highest extent of the mind, which uses elements and matter to express itself. So God is that one consciousness. It's like the internet. Mm-hmm. There's only one internet. But you know how many different devices compute the internet in different ways? Only one Facebook. You know how many different profiles there are? Yeah. So there's only one consciousness. But you know how many different psychological personalities there are computing that consciousness? Some appropriately, some inappropriately. So, you know, we all are just different expressions of that one consciousness. So you're talking about people reaching a higher self. The first thing you should do is you have to destroy labels and conceptions of what you think the world is. Because the world is only responding to the megahertz frequency of your brain. It's not, you know, there's nothing out outer space acting upon you saying, hey, I'm going to do this and make you feel this.
It's all in here.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
Very perfect. So I watched one of your videos. You talked about people being addicted to their lower selves. And it was the dopamine hormone.
Dopamine, yes.
Dopamine, sorry.
No, you're all right.
So what it feeds people and makes them feel good about technically things that are not good, right? That's what you're saying? Okay. So how does someone reset that? Does that basically tie into what we just talked about?
Yes, you have to actually physical action. Like, people don't understand how important physical action is. Okay. See, dopamine is a neurotransmitter, you know, and like, you know, difference between a hormone and a neurotransmitter. Long story short is, you know, a hormone is a chemical that's kicked into the blood, and it gives responses and certain suggestions to the nervous system in the brain, etc. A neurotransmitter is not kicked into the blood. It's a chemical substance that holds information that's kicked into the nervous system. Okay. So, you know, just simple difference. You know, these people make these big words up, but it's not that complicated. Now, dopamine is basically, it has a whole lot of functions in your body. But instead of me running down the list, we're just going to deal with the two important ones here. Okay. It's released during pleasure and it's released during reward. So if your favorite song come on and you feel good, that's because dopamine was just released in your head. But it was released in the brain. But the release comes from the memory of, you know, your neural nerve tract in your brain, you know, your neurology in your brain. It remembers what you like. So what it does is it actually influences you to repeat that action in order to release the dopamine so that your body can use it for other things. Okay. So with that being said, you know, if you watch violent things and you like violent things, you don't understand that you're programming your body to release dopamine predicated upon visual stimulation of violent scenarios.
Wow. Okay.
So a lot of people do things, or they have urges to do things, but they don't understand why. It's like if you're hungry, your body shows you hunger. Your stomach starts growling, you start to feel the crave to eat.
Right.
So your body is influencing you to eat something, because your body is alive from its own mean. It's called neurogastroenterology, which is, you know, your stomach is your large intestine is a brain in your stomach. That's why they say go with your gut feeling. So your body is actually alive and intelligent from its own source, just like your heart beats on its own. So your body will urge you, which is the higher level of consciousness. Like you're the manager, and your body is the little worker, the cashier.
Okay.
So the cashier will kick up suggestions to you in regards to how they need help working on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So your body, when it needs dopamine, you know, for certain things, it'll go into certain aspects of your brain, specifically the hippocampus part of your brain, which deals with memory.
Right.
You know, just like when they hypnotize hippocampus. But with that being said, it'll go into that aspect of your brain, and whatever you told yourself that you like, your brain, your body and your brain will work together to influence you to recommit that action, so that the dopamine can be released. So, you know, this is why, you know, television and things like that are so dangerous, because when we talk about pre-programming, what are we programming? We're programming the neurological system of a human being. So we're programming people to be to release chemicals into themselves to feel better, predicated upon things that are primarily negative. So, you know, it's like, you know, if you want to feel, it's like you tell a young girl, oh, in order for you to be beautiful, you got to dress like this, do this, and do that. And you got Nicki Minaj out here influencing your 8-year-old daughter. That's dopamine being released over years in her mind, predicated upon this stimulation.
Right.
So now when she gets 15, 16, and she's ready to be in a pleasurable state, her brain says, well, when you want to feel pleasure, this is what you do. This is what you do. This is what you do. And then we can't understand, you know, what's wrong with these kids? You know, and I call it hijacking the human being, because that's exactly what it is. Somebody's hijacked your brain. It's like a computer. You can hack a computer. Somebody can hack your mind. And it's all about, everything is about chemical reactions in the body. And, you know, your chemical reactions in the body are stimulated by the 5 physical senses: taste, touch, sight, sound, smell. All of these things cause chemicals to be released. And one of the primary chemicals is dopamine. Just like some people say, I'm addicted to eating, and they get overweight because they feel good when they eat food. Dopamine is released. So, you know, it's all, we're talking about addictions. You're not even addicted to the drug. You can smoke crack, and you're not even addicted to the crack. You're addicted to the dopamine that's being released in your brain.
That's crazy.
So you're really not addicted to that. You're addicted to you. You know, so
that's weird. So then how do you really tell someone that? Like, I guess you
straight like that.
You're not even addicted to that. You're addicted to you.
That's right. You're addicted.
And they're like, wait, what? How? That's not.
Because there's chemicals that are released in your brain naturally that make you feel good, but the module that you're going about releasing those chemicals, you had no control. You had no free will over per se in that correlation. You was already pre-programmed by society to feel pleasure underneath these circumstances. You didn't ever, you know. So if you tell somebody right now, that's why they say if you do something for 21 days, it becomes a habit, because it takes about 21 days to reprogram yourself neurologically.
Okay.
So, you know, whatchamacallit, if we was to start telling people, you know, it's good to read books and reward people for reading books. If you do that for 21 days, and now every time your brain wanted to release dopamine and feel pleasure, you would read a book. You know, you would do something positive. So this is why society really harps on negative things, because they know what they're doing. You know, and I'm just like, you know, people, I call them the administration. The administration knows very well what they're doing to the public. And, you know, it's just shameful, you know, that people themselves look up everything on the internet except for things like this. You know, why am I doing these certain things? So
that's cool. Okay, so retrack for people that be listening on my end. I know your people probably, people that follow you have understanding. That's why they follow you more. You know what I mean? So in order to undo what we feel is maybe pleasurable, which is not good, we have to just reprogram our mind in a way. But how do you? Through
physical action. Okay. You have to force yourself. And the main thing that you have to fight is what you perceive to be laziness. See, what you have to understand is it's multiple consciousnesses living inside of you. You know, you have multiple people. If you go to a job interview, you're not the same person that you are when you're talking with your friends.
Right.
That's two different people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So we talk about like DID, the movie Split, dissociative identity disorder. Everybody has that.
Right.
We got about 40 people that we got a person that we turn to when we get pulled over. We got a person that we turn to when we in a club. We got a person that we turn to when somebody's aggravating us. We have all these different, what you call faucets and modules. So what you have to understand is you have given them power and you have given them life. So when you start to do positive things, you killing those. So there's influences that come across you like laziness or I don't want to do this. But a lot of this is just your own ego working against you. So with that being said, psychology is a hell of a subject and people need to really understand that. And it's like if you watch that movie Split, if you remember every time he turned into, or when he was a little boy personality, when he wanted to do something good, another aspect of himself will come out and battle that. And that was just like a symbolic message to you and yourself. Whenever you want to do something good for you, you want to work out, you be like, damn, I don't feel like it.
Right.
But I want to eat good, I don't feel like it. But really, that's just split. You just
literally find everything wrong with the fact that...
That's right. You start busting yourself down with criticism.
Really?
So what we have to understand is we got to kill that person.
Okay.
That entity. And once you do that, then you get on your journey. But the only way to do that is to actually force yourself to do what it is you're setting out to do. So if you say, I'm going to start reading more, every time you get lazy, say, I'm reading this book. And just fight through the laziness. And after a while, it'll go away.
It'll go away.
So whatever it is, don't got to be reading a book. It could be, I don't know what people do out here. It could be climbing a tree. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is that you feel will make you a better person, you got to force yourself to do it. There's no other way, And it's like we do so much self-destruction of things willingly. It's a shame that we should have...
It's so bad. It's really bad.
But the fact that we can put so much energy into bad shows that we have energy to put into something, period. So we can turn around. We just gotta hit the U-turn.
So we're gonna do. We gotta do that. Okay, so how important is it? I know this is extremely important, but your relationship with nature and the environment. That's something big, right?
That should be number one in everybody's life.
But that's not. You know what I mean?
We've allowed the administration of this country to dilute in religion as well, to dilute the consciousness of everybody in all things on this planet. You are nature. Trees are lungs for the earth.
Right.
It takes 180 days for trees to exhale, aka fall and winter.
Mm-hmm.
And then it takes them 180 days for them to inhale, aka spring and summer. So the earth breathes. It does everything you do. So, it has blood, just like the blood of the earth is the oil. So with that being said, I can go on and on and on about the anatomy of the planet in comparison to human anatomy. It even has a soul. The Earth's core is a soul. The surface of the sun is 6,000 degrees Celsius. The Earth's core is 6,000 degrees Celsius. This is a living entity, breathing entity. But outside of that, our connection with nature should be primary because everything we do is suicidal. And it comes back, and this ties directly into even the subject matter. Our proper perspective on ourselves. People have become mentally disconnected from understanding that we're all one. For example, right? I'm sitting here with you, you're sitting here with me, we're both made up of atoms. We're made up of the exact same atoms. And not only are we made up of the exact same atoms, they're interconnected. So if I do something to me, little do you know I did something to you.
Wow.
So outside of that, the same atoms you're made up of, that laptop is made up of those atoms, the phone, the mouse, this bottle. So technically we are just re-manifestations of ourselves, experiencing ourselves differently, animately and inanimately. So with that being said, what makes you conscious is the realization of the fact that you are, and like this bottle doesn't know that it exists,
right.
But it does exist.
Right.
So technically it is not non-existent, it's just not conscious.
Okay.
So being conscious is just to be aware that you're here. So if you just say, damn, I'm in a human form and I can express free will. This bottle doesn't know that, and that's why it doesn't express free will. If this bottle is all it is atoms, if these atoms ever possess some form of communication with itself to where it can say, hey, I'm animate, I'm here, it will start to express itself.
Right.
So with that being said, people need to understand when it comes to nature, your cells in your body don't say, I wonder how I should interact with the body. We're like cells on the earth, we're
Right.
like small cells, so we should be playing our part in keeping the whole healthy. Your white blood cells don't ever debate with each other over littering inside of you and stupid things. So we should look at ourselves as small individual components of a higher module. Period. So people litter and do all kind of trifling activities that I just have no respect for. But It's because we become disconnected from love. So that being said, if you take the word heart and you put the H on the back, it spells earth. So you're connected bioenergetically to the earth through your heart chakra, which is creates your biofield, which creates the toroidal energy of the planet Earth. And the planet Earth is your mother. That's why we call it Mother Earth, because this is who gave birth to us biochemically and biologically. So this is like just when you die, everything returns back to the source. Your soul goes back to the solar system, and your body, aka is biodegradable, biodegrades and goes back to its original biological source, which is the planet.
Right.
So people need to understand that and become more interconnected with our original mother, our original parent. Which is we have two stems of creation. We have a metaphysical source and a physical source. So meta just means beyond, and physical is anything that you can calculate via length, width, height, etc. So that being said, physics is just a study of that which exists but is beyond calculation of length, width, height, etc.
Okay.
So your soul is just an extension of the solar system. So you can't see your soul, you can't see electrical conduits. There's electromagnetic energy in this room. We can't see it because it's not visible to our retina and our eyes.
Right.
So that would be considered metaphysics. It's still there. We just can't calculate it immediately using length, width, height, etc. So that being said, when your soul leaves your body, because death is just a permanent termination of the biological function which sustain a living organism. So once your body is no longer able to hold your electrical conduit, being your soul, your body goes back to its physical source of creation, which is the earth, and your soul goes back to its metaphysical source of creation, which is the cosmos. And this will be what you call God, Allah, whatever your religion may be or whatever your ideology may be. So people need to understand you actually have two modules of existence that balance each other out at the same time. So we're talking about yin yang. Yin yang is just physics and metaphysics.
Right.
Both stem and co-inhabit, but all come from that which was there before. What we believe to be comprised of reality. What we believe comprises reality today.
And you just said how your soul basically lives on. Correct.
Correct.
Okay, so because my grandmother passed, and I was like so distraught, and my mom and my uncle had to keep reminding me, like, okay, that's just her shell she was in that's no longer here. It returned to the ground, but it's still here. But how do you tell someone, like, I mean, it's hard to remember that in moments of like a death, or like losing a loved one, isn't it? Like, it's just like,
because this world has taught us to be incorrectly emotional.
Yeah, that's what it seems.
And what I mean by incorrect, our understandings are incorrect because, once again, labels and conceptions. If you didn't know, it's people who think about you, right? How many people you are? You're a daughter, you're a cousin, you're a niece, you're a student, you're a whole lot of people, but you're really not. These are just labels that people put on you to give themselves some understanding of how they interact with you, but that none of those things are who you are. So when we say your grandma, if she was at the bus stop and somebody seen her, she would just be a lady at the bus stop. So the point I'm trying to make is, I'm not saying don't care about your grandma, but understand that she's a soul who came here to have an experience, and y'all just so happen to be genetically related, and her body could no longer hold her electrical charge, and she went on to have another experience where she might be somebody's sister, that no relation to you anymore. So when we're talking about not to be attached, it's not about not caring, but it's about understanding that everything transitions. You know what I'm saying? Flowers go away in the wintertime. Don't nobody cry about that, because we know they come back in the spring. So, people leave these vessels, and, we just act like it's the end of the world, but we forget they come back, so it's just like, we have to, it's kind of selfish of us, it's like, we in 7th grade, if you in 7th grade and I'm in 8th grade, and I'm finna graduate to high school, do you love me so much you don't want me to go? You want me to stay here a whole nother year for you to catch up and go with me?
Right.
So when it comes to life, we gotta start understanding, people had their experience,
Right. So you have a video like this on your YouTube page, correct?
Yes.
That's what my mom told me. She watched it, and she's like, you have to watch this video.
Yes, it's called Life After Death.
Okay.
Yeah, and I definitely, I can't do the whole video right now, but for the most part, I just break down, how you actually hold people back, spiritually from ascending as well, because we are energetically connected. Like, for example, if you in a car with your children, and you get in a car accident, and your soul, leaves your body can no longer, your body is no longer biologically stable enough to hold you, and your children live, and you undergo what is called death, and I'm trying to give the definition of death in this way so people can understand you don't die, your body just can't hold you. It's like if you're in a car, and you get in a car accident, and the airbags deflate, as long as, you know, your body ain't dead, you can get out. You know what I'm saying? It's your car just total, but nothing happens to you.
Right.
So it's the same thing with, you know, this initial vessel. So, you know, if you love your children, right, or your children are mourning you, you're going to be attached. So no mother or parent in their right mind that's still holding on to the concept of being a parent in this paradox of reality is going to move on without knowing their children is okay.
Right.
So we talking about becoming a ghost or becoming a spirit. A lot of people are trapped here energetically, you know, and even though the situations have went on in what we call space-time event continuum,
right.
the souls and the concepts are still here because they're still chasing the concept, even though the environment doesn't even provide the concept anymore. So think about this college. You know how many people died here. You know how many ghosts probably roam around here from 500 years ago looking for people, and it's like, this is 2017. This is not the 1500s. You know, nobody's getting hung over here anymore. This is hopefully not. This is the college. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
With that being said, but the soul is still searching for the emotional fulfillment.
Right.
So we talking about, you know, when I was breaking down in my video, long story short, was, you know, you gotta let people move on because you be holding people here, you know, and that's not fair to them. You know, life is already hard.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, you know, if you've been struggling to pay your rent all your life, and you know, you're not grandmothers, do they take care of the whole family? Now grandma passed, you still got her here taking care of the goddamn family. Let grandma go do what she gotta do.
Right, let her go. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Alright, so we're gonna move on to the next form, like the next, not the next form, but the next topic, which is intimate relationships. So, how do you feel about intimate relationships?
I feel like they're important, but they're not. They shouldn't be a hindrance. I think it's time for people to grow up and stop thinking that, you know, because a lot of people, when we say intimate relationship, the first thing that come to people's mind, they don't even realize is possession. Like, people don't want to, you know, a ship is something that carries you. So first I gotta break down the science. You know, like, America is ruled by the laws of the sea, admiralty laws. This is why, you know, the U.S. has the biggest navy.
Right.
So when we say a ship, if you look at America, everything you do is a ship. Right. Okay, because ships take you places. You got relationships, partnerships, internships. I can go down the line. Everything that got the word ship at the end, because all you're doing is sailing from one place to another. So that being said, a lot of people ain't trying to sail you nowhere. They're just trying to lock you down. So the average person, before they get into a relationship, their mind is not, how can I get into this person's life and elevate them unconditionally? Their mind is, you're beautiful, I like what you do, I like the way you make me feel, I don't want nobody else to have that, I want to be the only one that has that, and if you do anything outside of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then you hurt me now, and your relationship is over. Right. So, you know, we're not even in relationships, we're in contractual agreements, we're in business, I call it emotional business. You know, that's what we're doing emotional business, and if I don't keep your little emotional business running the way you want me to, it's over. But at the end of the day, when we break up, what do we have? You didn't advance my bank account. Nothing. You didn't teach me nothing. You didn't do nothing but destroy my emotional business. Now I gotta go somewhere else to get double repairs. Right. So, you know, first of all, you know, we talking about intimate relationships. People not even in intimate relationships. They think they are, but they're not. So I want to put it in proper perspective. Now, when we going into intimate relationships, you know, people should be willing to be patient with the person that they're with, because they should understand that, you know, everybody's like a flower in a pot. You know, we're trying to internally blossom and bloom. So intimate relationships I don't think everybody should be in them, because some people, you know, if you're insecure or you're self-destructive, you're just gonna get with me and hold me back. You're not gonna help me blossom and bloom. So everything is not for everybody, you know, and you can't love everybody, and you should not be in an intimate relationship with everybody. When we say intimate, I don't want nobody to think of sex or anything. That's called a sexual. Intimate relationship is, I can talk to you about my childhood pains, and you should be able to psychologically coach me through them and heal them. Don't give me no pump prep talk. Don't give me no it's going to be okay. I'm talking about, you should be able to ascend me out of the state that I'm coming to you in. So we're talking about intimate relationships is when you discuss the aspects of yourself that you don't discuss with nobody. Right. And the people, basically, your partner should be your personal psychologist. They should be your personal, you know, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Spirit guide. Your partner should be what this world does not offer you. Right. You know, internally.
What if you're dealing with someone who you have all that to give them? You can, not all of that. they gotta be certain levels. But you give someone the advice that they need, but not just like the pep talk, like it'll be okay. Like, okay, try this and do this. But that person doesn't want to hear it. Does that mean that you should move on from this relationship? Because it's just like, okay, if I can't help you,
I would.
Yeah.
I like to, watch my mouth as much as I can. I don't like to tell people what they should do because then I become responsible for the for the effect that I cause. Because I'm gonna cause. But I would, because if you don't wanna grow and develop for you, what you wanna do for me? You don't want to do for you.
Right.
So you're out of here. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care about money and none of that. I like to see people care about themselves.
Right.
If you don't care about you, I damn sure can't be in no intimate relationship with you. That's not happening. So, if I'm trying to, and it depends too, because a lot of people don't know how to speak. So we gotta take that into consideration, because some people don't know how to tell people things. They don't know how to suggest. Some people want to bully you and try to play God, and that might run you off.
Right.
So some people we gonna give the person that's being talked to some leeway too. Some people don't have people skills. They don't know how to speak, and they run people off. But for the most part, excluding that, just assuming that this is somebody who genuinely cares and is trying to tell you the most healthiest, positive way that they can. Something that they believe would advance you, and assuming that they know what they're talking about, because some people don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
So assuming that everything is just perfect from the person that's giving you advice is just picture perfect, and you're not taking it, I can't jack you. Not at all.
Yeah, because you're not even trying to help yourself, so that's interesting. I wanted to talk about as well, in our generation, we have a lot of people who are, I know me personally now, this may be, what I want to ask you is it within self thing. And that's being emotionally inconsistent. I feel like a lot of people in our generation are like that. Like where 1 minute they feel a certain way about someone, and the next minute it could be like turned off in a switch. But does that mean that the person is inconsistent within themselves somewhere?
Yes and no. Because I used to be that way. Okay. And I'm that way sometimes, but not like relationship wise, but just like I can, like this gonna sound crazy, but I could be your best friend, but if I tell myself I hate you, I could watch you burn and I wouldn't put you out.
That's horrible.
So no, it's not.
Why?
Perspective.
Okay.
Perspective. If you a drug dealer, criminals or gangbangers are a positive to you. If you a police, that's a negative. If you a police is positive to you. If you a gangbanger, that's a negative.
That's true.
So nothing changed but the side you viewing. The 6 is a 9 from the other side, from the other point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, your emotions is just energy and motion. You set this energy and motion determined upon your thought process. So once you understand that, and you understand the science of that, then you begin to become more firm in your judgments after you honestly see what people do and judge them by that. So it's not like, I'm judging people when I'm saying I don't like you and I can watch you burn. It's like, well, if you my best friend and you rape a pedophile, you can become my worst enemy that fast. I won't have no compassion for you because you just turned that 6 to a 9. I look at you from the other side now.
Right.
So my thing is, that's where I'm at with myself, and I'm emotionally strong enough to stand on that. But as far as relationships, a lot of people are hurt, and a lot of times, we subconsciously create defense mechanisms. So if you somebody who, every time somebody good came into your life, they went out, you might ruin that for yourself just to save yourself from that pain,
Right.
And we don't take into consideration the amount of pains that we feel, even though it's not coming in the form we're looking for. Like you don't gotta be a UFC fighter to get your arm broke. You can fall down the stairs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you just don't want your arm broke, period. So you don't have to be in a relationship to get your heart broke. But you can get your heart broke. Your dog can die. Your parents can die. Your parents can break up. Daddy could leave. Mommy could leave. Somebody could steal something that was dear to you. We feel the same pain through so many. It's like it's not just one way to get to the mall. You can take a side street, a highway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you can ride a bike. But the mall is the mall. Pain is pain. So a lot of the times what people do is, we're on an emotional escape, and you see a lot of young people our age doing drugs and other things like that because they're running from their own self, period. So, and they don't understand that, and nobody's never, sat them down and understand that. But even when you do, they don't understand the importance of accepting that within your own self. So if you can't accept, somebody can give you all the truth in the world. You can have all the knowledge in the world. If you don't have the internal strength and capacity to accept that and be willing to change according to that, then it's nothing nobody can do for you. So when it comes to this, people being so detachful or, I love you, I don't like you. Some people just fake and be trying to get what they want from the first place. But outside of that, for people who genuinely feel like, I love him, and then 2 weeks go by and you feel like, I don't love him or I don't love her. A lot of people just playing around with perception. They don't really know. Like, this is 2017. We're going into the age of Aquarius. You know, that's going to be here in about, I want to say, 16, 17 more years exactly. So that being said, you know, the frequency of this planet is being risen. You know, even when you look at the Aquarian symbol, it's a man with a pitcher pouring out water, and water is symbolic to wisdom, and a pitcher is the wisdom that's been contained throughout the ages. Ages is just every 2,160 years that it takes us to travel through a zodiac house.
Right.
So within this particular spectrum of light, because we know light, it carries intelligence, we have a different level of intelligence being unveiled to us.
Okay.
So, you know, some people don't realize what, you know, energies they're playing with, and they just playing with them. Like, you bring a kid in right now, we know this is very expensive studio equipment. But if you bring a 5-year-old in here, they just gonna start hitting buttons. They don't really care about that. They gonna turn that on, turn that off. So it's the same way. We're still in the infancy stage spiritually because religion has suppressed us.
Okay.
So we have a whole complex studio inside of us, and we just hitting buttons. Oh, I can turn the spirit. I can do that. I can do that.
Crazy.
So you know, people just experimenting with themselves, and on top of all of the other stressful stimulations that life is providing. So we trying to grow, but we scared to grow, and there's just so much going on right now on planet Earth. You know, everybody needs to just take a break, period.
So I feel like I think that kind of answered my question as far as relationships as well. Just taking time, because you can play with other people.
I think that your primary relationship should be with you, and you should be honest with you. And I don't think that it should be a set, and I'm gonna end the answer to this question on this. I don't think it should be a set module of who you are. Because if you look at martial arts, right, we got you have something called a drunken master. Nobody says nothing about the master being drunk. I bet you don't want to fight him. So that being said, you know, there's so many different levels of mastery. You know, respect somebody's style. You know, nobody said tiger style was the best. You have crane style, all these stuff.
Right.
Monkey, so respect it. So respect. People should say, you know what, this is the type of person I am. And this is the type of things I like. And you should go get, like, for example, for dudes who like to club and talk to mad women, you need to go get you a girl who like the same thing. No, I don't care.
I agree with that.
So, because I'm like,
I agree.
People should be, but you know why people don't do that?
Why?
Because society has said you have to be a certain type of way. So now a dude has to present himself in a fictitious manner that he knows is not really him, just to interact with you, because he know that that's what you're expecting, because society told you to expect that. And now you get into this relationship and you think you got this great guy, but really you got a piece of sugar honey iced tea, and you get what you signed for, unknowingly that you signed for it. And this is the repetitive, you know, result in communities everywhere, because nobody's being real. So I think if you somebody who like to go to the strip club and you like to pop bottles, you need to get you about 1-2 females that like to do the same, and y'all will probably have a successful relationship, as opposed to 2 people that's in a fake marriage not really being who they are.
Right.
So I think people need to say, you know, if I like Naruto and I like anime, then your girl or your man need to like it just as much as you, and should nobody judge you for that.
Right.
So, you know, everybody needs to stop trying to play God and be so judgmental and set standards of how you should express free will. If free will is free, what's the standard of expression? I've never heard nobody say water should always be in this shape. Never. So there's no reason you should say a soul should always go this way. As long as it's righteous and you ain't hurt nobody else in your actions, I don't care what you do. As long as your actions is not hurting me, the planet, the animals, you know, the elements, the cosmos, my children, your children, children that could potentially be here, I wouldn't care if you skydive and didn't pull your parachute. I wouldn't care. So, you know, people need to get to that point of comfortability, and it's not going to come until we get comfortable with ourselves. You know, that's something I had to do. Even as a child, like, I always loved cartoons. I loved to draw. And, you know, people always call me a nerd, and like, surprisingly, I lost all my comic books, but I had like comic books that wasn't even open. Like, I had comic books that was like not for resale. I love comic books. I got Capcom vs. Marvel at home right now. So that being said, I love things like that. I watch anime. I was a big Adult Swim fan. I even watch Japanese cartoons that don't even speak English.
Oh my God.
So like, I love things like that. So I'm honest with myself about that. So the average person would say, oh, you're a nerd or you're a geek, but you know, that's just your psychological programming. You're a Dell, I'm a Mac. That's cool for you to run. So people need to get to that level of comfortability with themselves where they say, hey, this is what I like. I don't care what you think. Right. And then when we become firm on that, we gain confidence, and then we start to, you know, gain people in our life that coincide with us. You know, It's like when people say, oh, I met you and, you know, it's such a coincidence. Not a coincidence. coinciding dance, so we're dancing. Then you dance to what? Rhythm. Rhythm is what? Frequency. So people don't come into your life coincidentally. People come into your life because y'all have a coinciding dance. Y'all have a coinciding rhythm.
Right.
So people need to be honest with their rhythm and get around people that got the same rhythm as them, and that's how you vibrate harmoniously. Period.
So basically, be honest with yourself about what it is that you want, what it is that you're looking for, so that way you can also just attract it.
That's right.
Right. Okay. So you also have a video I watched called "What Is Love?"
Correct.
Right? And you talked about, you made very great points as always, but intellectual relationships and based off how people love based off their perception, but it may not be love to you. So how do you differentiate these types of loves?
You got to be truthful about what is in accordance with the universe.
Okay.
So let's just assume that people did, or people followed the advice I gave in the earlier aspect of this interview, where I was saying, dematerialize, all labels and conceptions, and you understand that everything is one. Mm-hmm. So now once we understand everything that's one, if I see you over here ignorant to that concept and you're destroying another aspect of ourselves, how is that love? Love is the highest elevation of understanding. If I say I love you, I love this bottle too, because this bottle is you, and I love the planet. So I know not to go outside and throw this bottle on the garbage on the ground, because you got to live here too. So if I destroy the planet, I'm destroying you too. So how can I say I love you, but I'm destroying another aspect that you need to exist? I can't say I love you and pollute the earth and pollute the oxygen, because potentially you got to breathe that in. Right. So I can't say I love you and go out in society and cause hell, because you gotta live in society. Right. So we look at love so stupid and incorrectly, and we individualize it to where love is not it's whole. You know what I'm saying? You don't say I love you and I don't never want you to be hungry and then throw the refrigerator in the garbage. Well, where am I supposed to go get food from? Right. So I think that people need to start, when you have that understanding and you look at life and you say, I'll give the example I gave in my video. If you down in life, right? Let's say you need some money. If a person's a Christian, they're going to say, well, just pray, and they're going to give you a Bible. Mm-hmm. That's how they love you. That's their understanding. If you're a Muslim, they're going to say, just pray. They're going to give you a Quran. If they're a Jew, they're going to give you a Torah. If they're in the streets, they're going to give you a brick of cocaine and a pistol and say, get you some money. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, all of those things that they did nothing for you. And the only person who did give you an aspect to get you some money, gave you an aspect to get you some money that's illegal and is going to put you in a way worse situation than you're already in. Mm-hmm. So that being said, did people love you, or did they give you incorrect advice predicated upon their programming? You were a Mac, you were looking for Mac software, and 50 Dells came. So with that being said, that's not love. That's misunderstanding. That's a misunderstanding. That's a hell of a misunderstanding.
That is.
So with that being said, we're talking about love. When I say, what is love, what is it? Because people don't understand what that is. Love is doing what's right because it benefits somebody that you have no consciousness that is benefiting.
Okay.
So
that's because you ask somebody what is love, like if you ask the boyfriend, if I had a boyfriend ask him what is love, it would probably not even have anything to do with that. And that's more important. Like the environmental love is more effective than just I love you and I'm gonna just do all these things to love you.
That's right.
You can't just love me. We gotta love everything, right?
I probably love trees more than I love people.
Right.
Because trees keep me breathing. You don't keep me breathing, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm not trying to down humanity, but I'm just giving a broader perspective. We negate, look at the sun. I don't know, I've never seen it in my life. I've never seen one person wake up and say, you know what, sun? Thank you very much for keeping me animated. Because the sun comprises physical reality. If that sun go away, light goes away. I've never seen somebody say, I am so thankful that the sun gave me the ability to even enjoy what I enjoy. Never. I see people give thanks to stupid stuff. I see people say, I want to thank my producer, I want to thank my regular, I want to thank my homies. I've never seen somebody actually thank the true origin of your happiness, which is the environment. Even summertime. You like the summer, you like hot weather, thank the sun for that. Right. If you like snow, still thank the sun for that, because it's at a certain degree to where it's giving you the environment you want. Right. So I've never seen people love the environment back. I've never seen a tree tell somebody, hey, I've converted your carbon dioxide into oxygen, give me $20. Trees have been doing this for however long this planet has been here, lovingly, unconditionally. We chop them down. And trees are not stupid. They communicate. They're intelligent. Science already proves that trees communicate under the ground through their roots. They actually talk. When you eat plants and vegetables, they kick off pheromones to try to stop you from eating them. So all vegetation and plant life is intelligent. And I've never seen them one time say, you know what, I'm not converting oxygen today because you're polluting me, chopping me down, building, cities on me. Never. But we don't care about that. We rather give credence and credit to somebody who did nothing but attributed self-destruction in our path. So, love is this society has a disgusting, horrible, this world has a disgusting, horrible concept of love. And that's what's trapping us, the concept. And until we look at love the way I said, look at this bottle and say, that's not love. I had to do it. I had to be honest. And it's, my background's a little checkered. I grew up in the streets. It is what it is. And, the things I used to look at like, yeah, my man looked out for me. Gave me a pistol. Gave me this. Now I be like, nigga, if you don't get away from me, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
It's just like, we have to actually dematerialize the concept, understand ourselves as one, and then see who's not contributing to that whole. And then you understand that they don't love.
So then how do you basically tell someone, okay, I know that you think that you're loving me because you did X, Y, and Z for me, but that's technically not love. Will someone take that as an attack? How would you break that down?
I talk to people according to who I'm talking to.
Okay.
Because certain people understand different things. And this is the point of the importance of what we call communication skills.
Right.
See, if you go to an environment where children are brought up rough and tough, you can't go in there speaking like, hi, how are you? My name. They don't want to hear that.
No.
You got to go in there like, listen, little Timmy, sit your ass down, because that's what Timmy understands. So I think that when we're trying to teach people about love, we got to still understand the psychology of the person we're talking to.
Right.
So, this is why a lot of motivational speakers or teachers don't go far, because you're only talking to one frequency. You're not talking to everyday people, because everyday people is going through tough things.
Right.
We don't want to hear no bull crap. Give it to us raw, or don't give it to us at all.
Right.
So, I would say, if the person gets offended or doesn't care, we should make sure that we're speaking to them in the manner that they want to be spoken to. And then if we are, and they get offended, a person doesn't, if you speak to a person in their own psychological capacity, and they take your advice offensive, then that's on them, and they got to deal with their own consequences of their own box, because the box that they live in. So, like, in that answer, like, like when they say Jesus died on the cross, and I'm giving this science and this analogy because it's representative to the consciousness of everybody today. They say Jesus Christ died on the cross for our sins. Your sins is your ignorance. You pay, like if you do something wrong, somebody say you're gonna pay for that. So every day you pay for your sins, you know. So even when you go to the store and you pay for something, you pay for what you pay attention to. This is why they call money currency. Currency is what? Electrical currents. Right. So money is the fictitious artificial nervous system of of America. So that being said, we are just spending money, aka we're acting like nerves in a huge body.
Right.
And we're spending money towards what we're paying attention to. So that being said, when we're dealing with a person, in in regards to speaking to them, we have to speak to them not only according to what they pay attention to, but we got to realize that their thoughts is self-generated. So everybody can't be. We can't emotionally waste ourselves caring for everybody.
Right.
And we're being taught that, that's being too cold-hearted, etc. But it's really not. It's just an understanding that everybody's not going to elevate. Everybody's not going to evolve because they don't want to.
Right.
That's the only thing stopping people from evolving. You don't have to be, consciousness is not obtained by physical fiat currency or wealth or money. It's contained by a simple want. Right. So with that being said, everybody doesn't want to give up their reality because it's uncomfortable to be uncomfortable. Right. So if you tell somebody right now, if I'm comfortable and I'm making $20,000 a week and I'm selling drugs, I'm comfortable. I'm not thinking about what I know is coming, jail or dead. I'm just comfortable right now.
Right.
So I don't care about how many families I'm destroying. I don't care about me destroying my community. I don't care about none of that. All I care about is being comfortable. And if you come in here and you tell me anything that's outside of my comfortability level, I'm going to deem you an enemy.
Right.
So if I'm a religious person and I'm a pastor and I'm making all of this money and I'm not really helping nobody, people paying tithes to a God that said the love of money is the root of all evil. So that being said, I don't really care. And if you come in here and you tell me that, hey, there's something wrong with this book, I'm going to deem you an enemy because, you're making me uncomfortable. And that comes back to my initial point I'm finna end this on. When they say Jesus died on the cross, Jesus Christ what? Jesus is the Son. or symbolic to the sun, and then Christ comes from the Greek word Christos, which means anointed one, pineal gland and consciousness. So, Christ even comes from Krishna consciousness, which is a whole other aspect of religion, etc. But with that being said, or way of life over there in the East. But with that being said, the cross is actually a hexahedron, which is a cube, a 3D cube in sacred geometry. Now, people, when you open up, like if you just take a cube and you open it, it will form a cross. So it wouldn't be like a square, 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 square. It would be like a square here, a square here, a square in the middle, a square in the middle, and then it would be like 2 or 3 square. It would be like 3 squares coming down will form a cross.
Okay.
So with that being said, when they say Christ died on the cross, they're saying your consciousness got trapped in the box. So this is what we're talking about.
Wow.
People not wanting to ascend. If you go right now and you take and it's called a net. If you want to look it up, just go and type in sacred geometry shaped nets. Okay. So like every shape had like a dodecahedron. When you open it up, looks like a snowflake.
Right.
And it has like a wavelength of 60 degrees. And the universe has like a wavelength of 60 degrees. And hydrogen has like a wavelength of 60 degrees. And the oxygen and hydrogen come together to form water. And when you zoom in on a molecular structure of water, it forms the exact wavelength in sacred geometry as a net, which is a dodecahedron, a snowflake.
Right.
So, sacred geometry is the comprising component of the universe. And a box contains energy. This is why when somebody buy you a ring, they give it to you in a box. You buy new shoes, they come in a box. You go to jail, they put you in a box. Any room you in, box. Because a box forces energy to travel in a confined manner.
Wow.
So that being said, when it says Christ died on a cross is just an opened up box. So your consciousness is actually going in the cross. So when we look at everybody in the world, everybody's Christ consciousness, their understanding of their higher self is being contained by money, religion, and politics. Yeah. So, it's very deep. And a lot of people don't want to understand that because they like it in the box.
Right.
They don't want to think. Even when somebody says, think outside the box, where did that saying come from? And if so, what box are you in? Nobody never asked them questions. We just thought it sounded cute. The box is the hexahedron, right. Period.
Right, okay, perfect. So to wrap that up, we're going to go into, now you have 2 questions from your followers. I don't know if I should be like, oh, this is from such and such. But
shout them, go ahead.
Alright, so the beautiful one too says, would you consider marrying a woman who can't have kids but still want to help assist in nation building?
Yes. Because let me get my word. The non-functioning of a physical capacity doesn't determine your consciousness. Okay. It's like your body dies, but your soul lives on.
Right.
So if your body can't compute properly, in regards to sexually reproductive capacity of itself, that don't got nothing to do with the soul and the body.
Right.
So am I with you because you can have children, or am I with you because I'm with the entity that's really you? So this is where we go again. We talking about perspective. When people in a relationship, they're not even with the soul, they with the body. You know what I'm saying? It's like people comprise their interaction with you based off your physical stimulation, they 5 physical senses. Right. How you taste, touch, see, smell, and how you sound to them. So that being said, if a woman is not able to sexually reproduce, what does that have to do with her capacity to be a woman? If you go out there and a tree got 5 branches and you snap a branch off, it's still going to bear some type of use in the environment. So it doesn't make it less of a tree. It just makes it a tree that's missing the capacity. So it's like if you, like for example, right? And this one is for more towards women. If you a woman and all you see yourself through is eyes, being physical beauty. If you get in a car accident, let's say the glass tear your face up. If you don't feel like you're useless, then you never was useful. Period. Because who were you before you had a mirror in your face? Right. So, imagine if you didn't have a mirror. Imagine if you grew up in a world there was no such thing as a mirror. And you could never see yourself. You would never have a chance to create an egotistical aspect of yourself to be attached to the flesh. Right. So, to answer our question, me personally, I would, it goes beyond the marriage. It just goes into, I want to deal with people that's contributive to me, That's like saying, would you have a best friend that's in a wheelchair? Why not?
Why not?
You know what I'm saying? Why not?
Right.
So would you have would you go to the club with somebody that got 4 fingers? Why not?
Why not?
So what, would you have a girlfriend that can't produce a child? Why not? Right. That's what adoption's for. Child is a child. Right. And if we are interconnected and it takes a village to raise a child, then all the children are ours. Right. So it's we got to get out of that hexahedron.
Okay. Well, girl, we answered your question. All right, so next one this is a long one. So Mona Lisa _N wanted to know, when cutting ties from toxic people or people who aren't beneficial in your spiritual development, should you cut ties with them on every social media platform? Also, and try to make it so they know little about your life goals, because she often thinks that when people know things, they go after your energy and your thought process, their doubt can block what is for you. So that's like 2 questions in one. First of all, we'll go with the social media one.
I mean, I block a lot of people on social media that's not conducive. I wish I could block them from this planet. But, I mean, that's something that should absolutely be done and taken into consideration as a measure, to be carried out. If somebody's not healthy to your growth and they're purposely being a devil. There is a such thing as a devil.
Right.
And it's called negative intent.
Right.
So, the devil's not a pointy-haired being. And there's people out here with pointy horns coming out their head and all kind of surgeries, but that's not the devil.
Right.
That's somebody trying to imitate what they think the devil is. The devil is when you mentally go into the oppositional thought patterns of the universe, which is, I'm going to do something bad because I want to do something bad.
Right.
So, there are people out here who are like that, and we can't ignore that. And I think that those type of people should be blocked from every aspect of existence, period, in your life, if they're targeting you. So, it goes beyond social media. If I would move out the neighborhood of all evil. So
she has this is not her situation, but just to break it down. So you have a friend that you guys are best friends, but you realize that this person is too toxic. You're not you guys are not growing together. You can't grow being around this person. So you cut ties with them altogether. And since you're cutting ties with them, are you cutting them off of everything that you own?
Yes.
So that means they can't see my Instagram pictures because they're.
Oh no, it depends. If they're not trying to attack me, they can still view my growth.
Okay.
But if they're trying to attack me, you have to go.
Okay.
But like I have people who I've been with every day, and we don't even see each other or talk no more. So I'm not speaking from. I'm telling you, I'm going through this thing. If you're not on this wave, you're not coming over here.
Right.
So we have to have a love for ourselves that is concrete. And that's what people don't have.
Right.
We too busy trying to always get somebody to understand what we understand. We got to get to the point where I don't give a damn if you don't understand. I'm trying to be a better person.
Right.
And I don't owe you an explanation for that.
Right.
If we smoke cigarettes every day and I just wake up one day and say, hey, I don't want that cigarette, then you shouldn't even have to ask me why. You just say why.
Right.
You should just be okay and you should keep smoking. Don't try to convince me that I should make you understand my new decision in life. So my thing is, if people was not, I wouldn't care if it was my mama. I wouldn't care who it was. If you see me trying to take a healthy road in life, spiritually, mentally, physically, etc., and you are not conducive to that, you have to go. Yeah. Whoever you are, gotta go.
Right.
And I don't care who you are. And the way I think is, the closer you are to me, the harder I should be on you, because the more care you should have for me.
Right.
So a lot of the times, we find it harder to cut off friends and family when that should be the easiest. You feel me? A stranger should be harder to cut off because I should be able to say, well, I didn't really expect you to care for me, and maybe you made a mistake, I'll give you a shot. But my family, you supposed to have my best interest at hand, period. So for you to be being negative, you gotta be the first one out the door.
Right.
Period. We need to just take the door off the hinge so it could be easier for you to leave. So, period.
Right. Okay. Well, perfect, Melissa. He answered your question as well. Well, to wrap up our interview, I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing your knowledge with my audience on the Imperfect Talkshow. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed this interview.
Most definitely. I definitely enjoyed you. I enjoyed the entire atmosphere of this interview. And, I have no problems at all coming back doing any more interviews or anything further in the future. So I want to definitely give you my appreciation, my humbleness, for conducting this interview and for having me on. I want to give a shout out to you, your Pharaoh, and everything you got going, the school, etc. Give a shout out to all the family out there, and for anybody who's just now being introduced into me, or introduced to me, excuse me. You can follow me on YouTube at Young Pharaoh. You can follow me on Twitter at Pharaoh_Allah. No, I'm not a Muslim, so please don't ask me that. You can follow me on Instagram at Pharaoh_Allah. You can follow me on Facebook at Young Pharaoh as well. And you can also subscribe to my website, youngpharaoh.net. Use the coupon, which is YouTubeYP, YOUTUBEYP, for a discount when you subscribe. And there you can find all of my work, all of my lectures. And I update it weekly, so every time I do a lecture, interview, etc., things such as this interview itself, will be posted in my site. And, you guys can get totally on the wave.
Perfect. So you have a lecture tomorrow as well.
Yes, I do.
Where is that going to be at?
It's going to be at, let me pull it up to be right and exact. 'Cause I want to say First South 69th Street. But before I just come out my head and say that.
I feel like you're right. I feel like that's what I've seen too.
That's correct. But I want to be right because I don't want nobody saying, hey, I went to the... Okay. And I'm correct, but I just wanted to be for sure.
Perfect.
First South 69th Street, second floor, Upper Darby, PA. Zip code 19082. The title of my presentation is going to be Spirit Science. I'm going to be breaking down the science of the spirit. And there's no area or no stone I'm leaving unturned. I'm going to break down, you know, how the zodiac sign actually interacts with you physically.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, this is where they got the Vitruvian man from. I'm going to break down, I'm even breaking down how sage, you know, cleans 94% of bacteria out of the oxygen. So
Wow.
I'm talking about if it's the science of the soul, I'm going there. I'm talking about reincarnation, the 4 universal laws, bioenergetics. This is definitely a jam-packed power point.
I'm excited for it. I'm happy that you're going to be in Philly. Everyone who listens to my show, they know I'm just excited to have people in Philly all together. Even though I don't actually live in Philly, I'm just happy to have you here and sharing your knowledge. I appreciate it.
That's right. Well, I'm happy to be in Philly. This is the first time for me, so I gotta come definitely, you know, leave my great impression and stamp on Philly. And you know, another thing is, you know, people have another label and conception that, you know, certain people in this world don't have an intellectual capacity to learn. That's not true, because you know, every time I go to a city that's deemed a tough city like Chicago, Philly, Compton, I get the best response. You know.
Yeah.
So with that being said, you know, I'm looking forward to this Philadelphia event that's taking place tomorrow, and you know, it's going to be a beautiful way to end a great weekend. Great interview with you today. Great lecture tomorrow, and I feel that I did a great spiritual duty to the city of Philadelphia.
Awesome.
This weekend.
Thank you. We appreciate it so much.
Most definitely.
So thank you for coming on, and we're gonna wrap it up.
Thank you very much for having me. I love y'all, family. You know, enjoy yourselves, elevate yourselves, and accept yourself. Don't wait for somebody else to do that for you. Peace.
I learned a lot, so I'm excited. I'm happy about this.
Most definitely. Thank you.
No problem.